Alright, so in today's video, we're going to be recreating some Minecraft structures completely from memory. Alright, so we're going to be starting off with the dungeon today. I completely forget the dimensions of this room, but I'm pretty sure it's not even. I'm going to place the spawner here. And I feel like this is already wrong, but we're going to just go with the flow. Okay. And then, oh shoot, we're just gonna keep going. No, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. I think it's one bigger. There we go. It's 3 blocks, 4 maybe? If I get 4, what does that look like? I feel like that's too tall. Yeah, that's a good height. And then the top is, there's nothing there. So we're just gonna have the chests here. That should be the mob spawner room. Let's take a look at what it actually looks like. Alright, so we can kind of see that my recreation was not very accurate. Yeah, a 5 by 5. Apparently there's only mossy cobble on the floor. Yeah, that's not very good. Well, you know what has to happen to this because it's not very accurate. Alright, so next up we have the igloo. Alright, so we're gonna grab some snow, and we're not gonna be building a basement because that would be hell. I think the entryway's like that. And you come in, and there's like a bed here. After the furnace here, redstone torch here. No, I think it's. There we go. I think it's like that. Alright, I cannot remember for the life of me if there's a door on this thing, but I'm just gonna place it, but that's okay. I think there's glass on that side too. Alright, now let's take a look at how accurate this thing is. Alright, so here's the exterior. You know, it's pretty bad. Alright, and here's a little look on the interior. Now, the interior, I think my interior is, I mean, there's no brown carpet. The carpet's messed up, but matches up pretty well, except for the grass. Maybe I should have filled it in with snow. Alright, so this next one, I'm going to be building the stronghold portal room. So we're actually moving up. So I'm going to be grabbing some bricks, and I'm not going to be placing infested because I feel like that's unnecessary. So I'm going to need some of that. I'm also going to need a spawner for the silverfish. We'll fill in a couple of the eyes. Alright, so I think I'm going to want to start with the lava actually, because I feel like once I have that down, I'm going to be able to get a good idea for everything else. Portal. Is there corners? I don't think there's corners. Right here we have, no, it's right here, or is it right here? I'm gonna have a couple eyes put in there. This is a pretty lucky portal. Alright, so I think it comes back a bit, and like the little pockets of lava are they 2 or 1? I think they're 3. There we go. Kind of liking how this is turning out, I'm not gonna lie. I think this is a playlist for success. So just looking at this, I can tell It is definitely not wide enough, so we're actually gonna fix that. So here's a brief little time lapse for you. So you see, I tear down the walls and I start redoing the outside. I redo the lava pools, making sure the dimensions are more accurate to what I thought was correct. So start filling in the outside, filling up the roof. Then I go on the inside and focus on more of the finer details like the windows, the steel cages, then the mossy cobblestone. And then I move on to the cracked bricks. And I just put on all my finishing touches. Alright, so I'm already noticing some inconsistencies, like my windows were too tall. There's this little rim around that I've never noticed. There are the corners on the lava pool, and there's an opening here. I actually did not do as well as I thought I did, which is kind of sad. Gonna be moving on. Now we're gonna be moving on to the next structure. So this one is going to be a little bit more difficult as we are going to be building the desert temple. Now I'm already worrying because I do not remember how this thing is built. Now, we got the doorway, we got the new terracotta. I am so done, dude. It's like this. I don't know what symbol it uses. Maybe that. Maybe it's like this. Remember that it does not use blue. I'm pretty sure smooth sandstone was a later edition, like this one. So I'm not going to be using that. I use connected textures, so it's going to be a bit weirder. I think the chiseled is between here. And it's like this, maybe? It's more cushion like this. That don't look too bad. Alright, and then we have the little entryway here. That's the little pocket. I think it comes up like this. And then it's like that. Alright, here's another voiceover for a time lapse. So you see, I move on from the towers, and I decide it's best if I go from the pyramid. And if you don't know Minecraft pyramids, desert temples can fit a full-size beacon, so I just use that as reference. Then I film the ceiling, and I realize around this point that I made it way too low, but I'm already too far forward. So I build the little floor pattern, and I build the walls, and I miscalculate the size, so I just go along with the flow, and it doesn't look too bad. But now I'm replacing the floor with sandstone, trying to ignore the fact that I made it way too tall. Here I'm digging out the center chamber, filling it out with sandstone, and instead of dynamite and TNT at the bottom, I just used orange terracotta because I didn't want to make any mistakes. But now I'm finishing the full construction, and at the time of building, I didn't know that the towers only had one that had an interior. I thought they both did, and they also did not look like that. Alright, so this is what the actual looks like. So I think the front gates look pretty good. The symbols were definitely wrong. There's not any chisel. The tops of the towers are definitely wrong. And also apparently there's two little doorways here I forgot about. There's not even an interior to the towers. How it looks like on the inside. Alright, so apparently in one of the towers there actually is an interior, but it's only one of them. I also seem to forget that there's pillars. I know this is an old picture, but there's still pillars. Also, the bottom has some smooth sandstone and chiseled, which I forgot about. There's also a torch, unless the player placed that. Alright, so I think that was pretty accurate, but, you know, it wasn't perfect, so... Alright, and now we're moving on to the final challenge of the video, and that is going to be the end ship. So I don't even remember how this thing even comes together, so I think I'm just going to start at the place I know. Along here, and then right up here. But I think it'd be bad if I decided to opt out here, so I'm just going to keep going. Here I'm going to have the staircase that descends downwards into this shitty, inaccurate structure. There's also some obsidian here that lines up the corner for whatever reason, just for some reason. Up here we also, I believe, glass and brewing stand healing potions. I also noticed that the format of this ship is really messed up, so I'm just gonna keep going. This Dude, imagine you're going to the end and you see it. Like all shitty things, this will soon come to an end, so just let's get it here already. Alright, I'm not even gonna do this one the honors of blowing up via TNT. That's more like it. Alright, so this is pretty much just a video for me to dig around and test in, just to, you know, get my feet into YouTube. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, please like and subscribe. You know, this wasn't exactly a video I made expecting to blow up, but I do think it was vital stepping stone if I do want to grow a platform. But thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the editing. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one.